There are 5 books that changed my life as a software developer and helped me go from junior to senior developer. I want to share those 5 books with you briefly here. Hello world, I'm David Scott Bernstein. I've been a software developer for about 40 years, and I've learned a lot in that time. I've unlearned a lot as well because knowledge changes and skills change, but some things remain the same. And the books that have influenced me the most as a software developer have been about things that are eternal in our industry, in the discipline of software development, how we understand and model things, and some core techniques around doing that. So I want to share with you 5 books that I found completely invaluable and that have changed my life as a software developer and why they have been so influential. Okay, so the first one is this one, Design Patterns Explained by Alan Shalloway and Jim Trott. And I'm pointing to this one rather than the original book about design patterns, The Gang of Four, as we refer to it, because although that was an amazing book and it was the book that really brought out the ideas of design patterns, it also is really hard to read and understand. This book is much more accessible, hence the title, Explain. And it really helped me understand the essence of object-oriented programming and how to create behavior through the interaction of objects rather than through, straight logic. And these were really deep understandings for me. I had taught OO for many years prior to meeting Al Shalloway. I thought I understood object-oriented programming, but this book helped me see a deeper dimension to OO. And there are many deeper dimensions that we'll talk about in object-oriented programming. But this is the book that helped sort of open the door for me and also understand design patterns. I became a big proponent of patterns because they're so amazingly valuable. And especially moving forward into this new age of software development, the idea of being able to understand patterns and communicate patterns with AI is going to be very important. So I think this is one of the most valuable books for software developers to read and understand. And just like the idea of design patterns from the Gang of Four helped us deepen our understanding of object-oriented programming because they're great examples of OO, this book also helped give me deeper insights into the nature of modeling software using objects. It's a very valuable and important paradigm. This is one of the values, I think, of being a software developer because we are on the leading edge of thought in many ways. Because software is all about modeling processes, and thoughts are oftentimes modeled as processes. So it helps us deepen our understanding of how we model things. And that's, I think, one of the great values of software. So this is one of my favorite books. The next book that I want to ultimately talk about and review with you guys is a book that had really introduced me to the notion of doing test-first development well. And this is Kent Beck's original book on TDD. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of good books on TDD, but at least it helps sort of set the framework for the practice of doing TDD. And when we start to begin to understand how to do it well, it is one of the most powerful techniques for building complex software that I have ever encountered, I believe. Now, if you're doing one-offs or simple things, it doesn't necessarily matter very much, but when you're building enterprise software and you're building complex business rules, then you want to have good disciplines around building things. And it helps us understand things at a deeper level. So this is a great book, I think, to help us build software more robustly. The other book that I think, this is brand new, I just added it to my collection because this is the second edition of Martin Fowler's book, Refactoring. His first edition I love. And I'm looking forward to reading the second edition. Refactoring is a critical skill for software developers, I think, because we're constantly changing the nature of our code, and we need to know how to do it safely and effectively. So the recipes in this book, the skills that this book talks about, I think are incredibly valuable for us as developers. And when we know how to refactor designs, it means that it doesn't really matter what design we start out with. If we know how to go to the right design when we have new information. And when we're doing agile software development, we're constantly incrementally building software. So we're constantly getting new information. And those are the times that we want to be able to respond and refactor our code safely, effectively, to accommodate new features so the quality of our code continues to increase. It's a really valuable set of skills, and that's what this book is about. The fourth book I was kind of scared of. It was a thick book, and it's definitely considered an advanced book, but it's also one of my favorite books now. And I so think that it has great value for us to really take our understanding of domain models and object-oriented programming and how we model things to a whole nother level. And really, he formed a language around doing this, a whole structure around doing this, to be able to separate out, what is the pure domain model from how that model is implemented in various ways. It allows us to get a good visualization of a system, you know, and that can be incredibly valuable. So I think the ideas in this book are foundational when you're building enterprise software and working through big systems. And it's also incredibly well written. He's an excellent author. So this is one of my very favorite books of all times. And then I'm going to add one other book to it, and shameless plug. This is my book, my first book, Beyond Legacy Code, and I want to put it among my favorite software development books because it again really focuses on the principles and the ideas behind these core practices of doing software development. So it's not like Michael Feather's book, which is Working Effectively with Legacy Code, is also one of my favorite books for software developers because we have to work with legacy so much, and it's a whole bunch of very practical techniques for working with legacy code. This book is more why the technical practices are valuable, so that we can all get on the same page with doing them, why we're doing them, how to do them effectively. So those are the 5 books, and of course it influenced me because I wrote it. But it was also, the culmination of a lot of my learning throughout my history as a developer and working with a lot of different development teams. So those are 5 books that I find are incredibly valuable for learning to become a better software developer. Well, of course, there's hundreds, maybe thousands of really important books in our industry. So I just picked 5 from my shelf that were influential for me, but I'm sure that there's hundreds and hundreds of really important books out there. So if you found books that are really valuable for you, please share them with us. And I'll see you later.